said it right at the start. We had the pleasure of seeing these graphics before anyone else and could talk. Odell, so Viper is being greedy, Derek. He wants to go there again and get, you know, a spare ticket that will be dealt with later on. But yeah, Viper beating the, you know, the new guy.
Calling it Peanut Shaman, that's what he wanted to call it, so we're respecting his wishes. Don't really know where it comes from. He said it's because it's Stone Cold Nuts, also because it's made up of just a bunch of little peanuts. Can't remember the last one, but it's very similar across the board. But in the top 8, I feel like we have a lot of diversity. We're seeing a lot of different archetypes, so nobody really knew what the correct lineup was coming in. People just kind of pick safe decks. I think that's one of the reasons also why we saw more Control Priest as opposed to Topsy-Turvy Priest or Cloning Gallery Priest, right? Because it's just safer. And in the past, traditionally, that's what Europe's kind of been, because they have gone first traditionally in almost every playoff. I think every playoff. A lot of times they play it safe because they don't know what the metagame is going to be like. I feel like we're going to be even seeing even more diversity in the coming weeks with Americas and Asia Pacific. But right now, it's not about that, Dan. It's about a spot in the top 4 and a spot at the Winter Championship. That's what it's about.
Yeah, and what's so interesting to me about this is that, well, one, we kind of mentioned the unusual deck list, so we've already hammered that home and fed that fed horse. But Viper already did qualify. Therefore, he theoretically could have room to mess around. But at the same time, we're seeing multiple people qualify for the top 8 having weird lineups as well. So it's one of those things that remind you, like, yes, this is your last chance to qualify, but maybe that's one of those chances for you to be extra bold because everyone else is playing it safe for the most part.
Yeah.
And you can really take advantage of that, which is what Viper did. He said, you know what? I have a free roll at this tournament. I'm going to really try to see if I can capitalize and beat the meta. I don't think, you know, his lineup is going to work well if they play tournaments 100 times. But at the same time, you get the right matchups, have a really unique take, and things are working out really well. Let's go into Odd Paladin versus Control Mage. Even despite the fact that Odd Paladin has lost Level Up, which is a really great tool to pressure the Mage, statistically still has a pretty good spread against the Control Mage. I don't know if that's just largely because people are doing surprise tech on ladder. Like, you know, they're not sure how to play around a Frostwolf Warlord, or if they're playing around Stormwind Champion, or if they're playing around, like, Witch's Cauldron, you know, those kinds of techs.
Yeah.
Or maybe perhaps the big spell mages are busy experimenting right now, but do you feel like it's still Odd Paladin favored?
I think it's very close to even. If I had to say my own, sorry, my own feelings on it, I think it's very close to even. On ladder, you don't necessarily know what to mulligan for, is the big thing. In the tournament setting, you know what to mulligan for. You basically need Dragon's Fury, because you need a way to stop the pressure early. So I think that gives you a couple percentage points. I also think with the level up nerf, I think that the matchup's gotten a little bit better. So I would say that it's even. There is a weird situation where even if you have an early board clear, if you don't have the follow-up, then Odd Paladin can start pressuring. They have a little bit more threats. Witch's Cauldron can actually be a good tool in this matchup specifically because it can protect you from a Blizzard. Because if your opponent Blizzards, then they're going to give you random Shaman spells, which can change the outcome of the game. So
Viper and Dawido did meet earlier in the tournament, by the way. Dawido lost that series 2-3, but, you know, 2-3 matchups, I have to go back and check. Was a certain deck losing a lot? Was it, like, you know, tit for tat trading games here and there? We'll have to find out. But look at the path that Dawido had to get here. He had to beat Faily, he had to go up against Orange, Viper, Bunny Hopper. I mean, those are some of Europe's best. And, you know, Dawido's also been competing for quite some time, so I mean, I think by now, almost every fan and viewer that's following along HCT recognize that any player that you see in the Euro playoff is no pushover.
Yeah.
They're not there by accident. Yes, you might see them mess up an order sequence. You might make them see a big arrow or even miss a lethal. But, you know, one game doesn't define a Hearthstone player, TJ.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Oh, wow. And here's one of those cards that we're talking about that could be a big influential factor. Dawido has ways to draw cards, not just through the Divine Favorite, but now through the Witch's Cauldron as well.
Yeah, he's coming up on Dragon's Fury turn, but he gets to cash in for 2 spells right now. And if there's no Dragon's Fury, then this is going to protect him even from Blizzard over to turn 6, as I had mentioned earlier. So I think this is a pretty safe turn to play it. There's also the other thing, though, if he plays Witch's Cauldron and gets a few Shaman spells that are very hard to use, expensive ones, then it makes his Divine Favor worse. So that's another thing to keep in mind.
Yep, absolutely.
But I think that cashing in on the immediate value actually has a lot of merit in this situation. Gets Earthen Might and Totemic Smash. Earthen Might could be good. It just allows you to essentially buff a minion, since the deck doesn't really contain many elementals, just fireflies, I believe.
Yeah, it is interesting that Dawido chose to go for this Flame Elemental over, say, the Righteous Protector, because if your opponent did have Dragon's Fury, you don't have any minion to build off of. I don't know if that ends up being a huge difference maker, but I do every now and then see like big spell mages barely survive by like 2 or 3 hit points. And if, you know, that's all that separates you and death, having that extra 1 attack might end up being a difference maker. Viper's Path, by the way, had to face off against a who's who as well of Europe, facing Casey, Maverick, Boston, Faley, and of course had to beat Dawido as well.
Yeah,
but it's a good story. Look, he lost his first series and hasn't lost since.
Hasn't lost since like 10 a.m. European time yesterday, which is a lot of momentum for him. And also, all of his matches were either 3-0 or 3-2, so it just gives you pretty much a good look into what his lineup's trying to do.
Right.
The 3-0 lineups were all probably aggressive lineups, and the 3-2 were all probably the control-y / good decks lineups. But he has been on a tear, and I'm honestly surprised that the Shaman's been that consistent. Winning 6 or 7 matches in a row at this point means that he's consistently taking wins with a deck that nobody really expected. Very impressive.
It is very impressive. Dawido, see, now here's the thing about what Dawido's play previous turn set him up for. He could have pushed damage with Earthen Might, freed up his hand so that he could Divine Favor the following turn, and then play Vine Cleaver on 7. And by not having that minion on board, Earthen Might is basically used to preemptively buff, and it's not nearly as effective if you give Big Spell Mage a chance to answer with, you know, like a Voodoo Doll or a Polymorph. Or even just get taunt in the way so that that damage doesn't go through. So now, this one damage that's, you know, quote, missed, because I'm sure Dawido had his entire logic, like, hey, if I get this minion on the board, he doesn't clear, I Earthen Might the Flame Elemental, get a little buff there, and get another card of value. But, I mean, this just feels a lot worse than the alternative that we were talking about.
Yeah, it really does. But not much of an option at this stage.
It's true. I mean, I don't blame them either.
Viper, I think, has a good Stonehill plus Acolyte play here.
Yep, I like it.
The Acolyte, I guess you can maybe think about Divine Favor in that situation. If for example, if Stonehill picks up something, you know, that's super defensive, like Rotten Apple Bomb, maybe you can even just not play Acolyte, but he's actually just going to go with Meteor and keep the board state to a minimum.
Yeah. So one thing that I really like what Viper's doing right now is he has Frostlich Jaina, so his highest priority is to avoid taking damage as much as possible. Plus, by doing this, he avoids, I guess it's the same either way for the card draw. Like, Stonehill Defender and Acolyte Plane would have put the same amount of cards in his hand. But it could have also set it up where Dawido made him draw more cards and then Viper gave him bigger opportunity.
Yeah.
But functionally, Viper has the most important card already, which is Frostlich Jaina, which will easily outpace Baku's hero power.
Yes, it will.
Reporting for duty.
So I can get along, or I can get on board with Viper's thinking here. And he just keeps picking up more AoE.
Out of my jungle.
Ooh. So Tar Creeper is fantastic because of the Frostlich Jaina synergy. Rusty Recycler also just gives you more health and a lot more meat to those bones.
Goldshire Footman actually is interesting here because it allows him to play it and also play Acolyte of Pain.
Okay, I'm down.
It feels weird, but
that's all it does, though.
yes, but is that worth it?
It would be if you were really far ahead and you're like, okay, I need to shut down that Divine Favor and get a little bit more board presence. I mean, let's say Dawido had the Frostwolf Warlord, then by all means, I'm totally down for like a Goldshire Footman setup here. But given that he already has Frostwitch Jaina, oh my goodness. Really?
I like it. I don't know. I like being able to fit in the Acolyte of Pain and also provide a little bit of extra defense, because
Okay.
one of the things that defends you the most is just number of attacks,
True.
right? If you clear off one more 1/1 next turn, that makes it much safer to play, say, Syndragosa the turn before you play Frosted Jaina, which isn't often something that happens
It's
regularly. So I don't know. My mind immediately went towards Star Creeper, but then I started thinking about it more, and I said, hey, Goldshire Footman actually stops a couple 1/1s here.
True. Yeah.
It's going to do its job.
It does a really good job here, in fact. I'm very impressed. Wow, Goldshire Footman able to clean up, protect the Acolyte from a very clean snipe of any sort, and I gotta say, that was really nicely done here by Viper. Picks
Oh,
up the
boy.
Lich King. And now can set up into Frostlich Jaina, even has Serenite Chain Gang plus Anti-Magic Shell for some big swings on the board. Frostlich Jaina can come down, Serenite Chain Gang plus Anti-Magic Shell and Hero Power can set up just this massive board, and I think that would be lights out for Dawido.
Yeah.
Unless he can find this one window of opportunity in the next turn or two. Because the problem with Frosted Jaina is that if the opponent has a really big board, you're a little bit scared to develop into it.
Yeah, it's got a lot of high impact cards. Bummer here is for Stonehill Defender can pick up Sunkeeper turn, but wouldn't be able to play it this turn.
Yeah, that's
but-
fine though, because you still have the Terran for the following turn. Because if you're gonna swing with you're most likely gonna have a full board this turn, anyways.
Yeah.
Because you can use the Raid Leader and the Hero Power, and I believe a Corridor Creeper for the maximum damage.
Yep. So Sunkeeper Terran could be the difference maker in this series. The problem is that this turn is weaker. Lich King's going to stick around, going to get a little bit more value out of it. Actually, Lich King won't necessarily stick around.
Reporting for duty.
Yeah, he's just going to go ahead and
trade.
Yeah, trade. And this is a lot of power to play Frosted Jaina into.
Yes. Oh, keeping his board free in case that he can't. Like if Viper traded his Acolyte, then Dawido would not be able to Sunkeeper tear him. So this is a really good restraint from Dawido. That being said, the maximum damage that he can push is 18 plus 4. 18 from the 3 attack. Actually, no. The Raid Leader would add
It was
5
still
more power.
buff, so it's
27.
Wait, what?
Wouldn't it be?
Oh yeah, I think you're right.
Because the Raid Leader stacks after they become 3/3s.
Yeah, so it'd be 18 plus 5, which is 23,
Plus the
plus
Horde.
the Vine Cleaver. Actually, plus the Acarus Veteran. 28!
You wouldn't be able to squeeze enough board space, I think.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Because it was at 6 minions. But
Yeah,
yeah, it's like the
27.
point is, if you know, that's one way that Dawido set up in case that Viper went for a very quick Frosted Jaina without thinking, because a lot of people who are in that position think, I'm okay. You know, he would have to get the one card from that Stonehill Defender. But Viper plays around that, and Dawido set up for it. And I think Dawido leaving open a board space might even be a little bit indicative of it, because Viper's like, well, he's probably had opportunity to play Corridor Creeper, but he left that space open. I'm going to account for that Sunkeeper Terran.
Yeah. And Dawido here is actually in maybe not a great spot, but he has reload for
Yeah.
every turn for the next like 5 turns with the second Vine Cleaver in hand.
Move quickly.
Unless Viper were to pick up the one copy of... Actually, it's 2 copies of Gluttonous Ooze.
Yeah, it makes me think that Dawido might just... It might be worth it for him just to reset up another Vine Cleaver. Like, just play this Quarter Creeper and just play Vine Cleaver and pass. But the double Gluttonous Ooze is probably the big thorn in his side, because you just have to... Like, that's just such a big swing. Your second Vine Cleaver is a huge investment. And you give your opponent a chance to AoE with, say, another Blizzard or another Dragon's Fury, and then play Ooze and win back the board.
Yeah.
That said, this is still a really interesting opportunity for Viper to play Serenite Chain Gang and Anti-Magic Shell. He can set up just like a huge board, clear off 3 minions. Only thing is the Sunkeeper Tarim, so he can Flame Strike. He can Saturday Night Chain Gang. I wonder what he can also draw.
Interesting.
He also has a Dragon Maul Scorcher in this deck. So that could be another way for him to just keep removing the board.
But by doing this, it kind of forces some trades onto the via the Sunkeeper Tarim.
And I think that's his goal if he were to pick up Tarim, which he may have the read, because as you mentioned, Dawido left a board space open in a situation where he had 6 cards in hand and still some leftover mana. And also, in this case, Viper seems to be like far ahead if you look at just what the decks are trying to do, and him having Frosted Jane in hand. So for him, he needs to kind of play around worst case scenario, because he's got all the cards he needs to win. It's just about minimizing the impact of that worst case scenario.
Trade. 6 damage to the face. Is it worth holding on to a Corridor Creeper as opposed to a Silverhand Recruit? Based off the deck list, I don't think so. There's no Ironbeak Owl to like manipulate life totals and silence. So I think you're okay trading either one of these. The debate is, you know, do you want to... what do you want to do with the remaining mana here? I actually... Hold on, I actually think there's value in placing the Blessing of Might too and going phase with the damage here.
Well, the big thing is that
Oh, wow.
Dawido's set up for lethal next turn unless Viper's able to gain health or put something in the way.
Yeah, he needs the Arcane Anomaly, but he's at full cards at this point. So if he Flame Strikes, is he just dead?
If he Flame Strikes, he is dead. Unless he attacks in with this Acolyte of Pain. No, he can't. He's just out of hand space.
Interesting.
So yeah, I think he's dead no matter what.
What if he Dragon Maw Scorchers? Don't think so. What if he plays Ziliax, doesn't attack, goes up to 14? No, there's just not enough. You know, Odd Paladin's still really powerful.
Well, pretty sure Dawido was 100% dead unless he picked up Sunkeeper Tarim from the Stonehill.
I don't know. There's still Vine Cleaver and Leroy. There's a lot of power behind it. It's not like Dawido just barely got it. He still has 12 plus 8, 6 plus 3. He still had 21 damage from the hand.
The problem is he would have just never got through the Stonehill anti-magic shell, or the Saturday Night Chain Gang anti-magic shell.
Oh! That was wrong. Oh no. Oh boy. All right, well, forget about that one. Odd Paladin is going to take this first game, and you can see the disappointment on Viper's head, just recognizing that was just not what he wanted to do.
Yep.
Oh boy. Also, I mean, I don't know exactly if any other turns prior to this made that decision at the end of 2017's year campaign. It was like right after Tom won the World Championship. You're like, yeah, we're going to make sure that it's not a single elimination winning in when you get to top 8.
Dan, you could say we. I think you're a big part of the Hearthstone esports ecosystem.
There's almost nobody left to direct their rage at. Because, like, you know, Ben Bro and Che and...
Not
like,
me. Directed at Frodan.
Everyone's like, I have all these emotions as a competitive hardcore player. Who do I direct it at social media? The answer is TJ Sanders.
Nope,
at
it's
AzimoQT.
At Frodan.
I can't do anything. I'm busy just trying to organize cool events.
No, Dan. Little known fact, but you control all the decisions.
No, you have it confused as a person that gets paid by Blizzard to say anything that they want me to say. No? Too soon?
Yeah. Every time Dan says something...
TJ can't chuckle at that joke. All right, I'm going to stop talking before I get fired.
Every time Dan says something nice, I just Hand him a couple gold shekels under the table.
Thank you. I'm just a little goblin. I'm a treasure goblin from Diablo 3.
Hearthstone, best game ever. There you go, Dan.
If only it was that easy. Shadow Vision, may I say, an excellently designed card, by the way, TJ.
5 shekels for you.
Thank you. Against, you know, the mid-range Secret Hunter that's got a couple of interesting twists on it. We haven't seen Wing Blast in quite some time, as a lot of people would choose to play a little bit more minion-heavy lists. The really cool thing about these Secret Hunter lists is that they vary so much by 1 to sometimes even 3 or 4 cards.
Yeah.
And it makes sense. I mean, if you're going to play, say, other hunters, and there's a lot of trading going on with Spring Paws and, you know, things of that kind, then you might have an opportunity for a big swing on the board. Like, you trade a Spring Paw, and then you Wing Blast, like, a big 4/4 minion or a wolf.
Yeah. I think even just as early as this turn, it's going to come into play because you can push 6 more damage with the Wind Fury minion and then 2 more with the hero power. A lot of pressure.
I agree.
Being acquired by Dawido.
The upside of Animal Companion is not even that great. You get Leok, stuck. If you get Huffer, stuck.
You get Misha, you're pretty much stuck, and you get way more punished by Dustbreaker because you don't push any damage.
Well, Huffer's not the worst. You're still in a similar position because you have the 3/2 Crackling Razormaw with Wind Fury afterwards. Yeah. But the upside is you get to keep Wing Blast, and then you can Animal Companion Wing Blast the following turn.
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean,
but then the
like
other 2 minions have, like, those downsides, right? So
I like your play, honestly. I like the Wing Blast push damage because I think the later this game goes, the less likely you are to win. And you have upside of, if they can't answer it, you Dire Frenzy for max damage. Oh, boy.
Quickly.
Oh, TJ, this is going to be a massive punish if Dawido leaves out this Qatar creature.
Yep. And wisely enough, does not. How about 2 of them?
Yeah, double Dustbreaker. And that shuts down the possibility of Spellstone coming in to crush the game. So Dawido does not have that access to you know, some nice swings on the board. Oh, looks like an admin's calling Dawido over.
No, it's a fan. Sorry, man, I'm playing my winning in. Can't talk now. What's the secret to playing Hunter so well? No, man, I'm playing right now.
I mean, right now he's got a pretty good opportunity just to Dire Frenzy.
Yeah.
You know, Dire Frenzy has a side effect of shuffling copies into your deck. The main thing is that it's a little bit like a budget Blessing of Kings.
Yeah.
And if you think about it that way, instead of just trying to say, well, this is an anti-fatigue card. Oh, this is like a combo card for rush or charge minions or, you know, things of that sort. It's like, oh, I just buff and push damage. Except this also gets punished by the Dustbreaker. And it feels like, you know, that's part of the reason why Priest is so effective against this class, because Dustbreaker sets up so many difficult scenarios where it doesn't even really matter, like, how you set things up, because if you delay the board building, then you just give them more time to draw it.
Yep.
If you play directly and they have it on 4, you just get blown out.
Yep. Now Dawido has to kind of restart here. Wasn't able to push that much damage, surprisingly, with a very powerful early curve. Viper was able to stop that, stabilize at 24.
Yeah, I think it's time to sound the bells, TJ. Master's Call. Animal Companion is not going to do much here, and you have a lot of opportunity to get punished if you summon Misha.
Sorry, I had to.
It was great. It was beautiful, TJ.
Thank you.
Yeah, there you see the usefulness of the Wing Blast, but that's not what you want to be doing as Hunter. You're not supposed to be playing a reactive game plan. You're supposed to be proactive. Does Viper have Gluttonous Ooze in all of his decks? Oh my goodness. I think he does. He has 2 Gluttonous Oozes in his big spell mage. He has 2 oozes in his Odd Warrior deck. He has an ooze in his Control Priest and a Gluttonous Ooze in his Control Shaman.
He's running the old 6 Gluttonous Ooze lineup.
Yeah. Wow.
When you're playing control decks like that and you're looking for slots, it is one of the most swingy tech cards.
Yeah, I'm sure no Q block ever was able to play Skull the Minari.
Nope.
Well, Dawido picks up one of his big Mishas.
He has a 5/7 Misha.
To my side.
Is it a 5/7?
I think so.
I thought it was a 7/7.
Oh, yeah, it's 7/7 because it was swapped.
Yes.
Wait a
It
second.
was a debuff.
So Dire Frenzy still holds on to things even if it's debuff.
Yes.
It takes the base stats of the minion.
I think so, but hey,
Well, obviously it does, but
lines up really nicely to the crowd roaster. Big dragons hitting the board.
drew another one. What the heck? He's got 20 cards left in his deck.
Imagine if Dire Frenzy said, shuffle 3 copies, or rather place 3 copies on top of your deck.
That would be insane.
That would be just such a busted card.
If he draws the 3rd one in a row, I'll eat my socks.
Will you?
Yeah. Joke's on you. My socks are made out of candy.
They are not.
No, they're not.
Either that or they're the worst smelling candy I have ever encountered.
How do you know what my socks smell like?
TJ. Everybody knows what your sock smells like.
Fair point.
Dawido's a little bit of a tough situation because, again, if he plays reactive, he's losing a lot. But he can't afford to like play Freezing Trap into the crowd roaster. So I think Kill Command. Oh, Shadowy Branduin.
Yeah.
Wait, no.
It
Yes,
doesn't.
yes.
Okay, it does because if you play Shadow of Branduin, it gets buffed to a
Yeah.
6/4. Then the Gluttonous Ooze doesn't trade in. So, pretty cool play.
Yep, I like it. I was like, well, no, Viper doesn't have enough mana. And then I realized I was looking at the wrong feed there. But
That was cheeky.
it was very cheeky. And the Psychic Scream here is a little problematic. And I think this actually... Does this debuff the Misha that got shuffled in?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Right? Yeah, it does.
That'd be awesome.
Wait, no, because it's not an enchant. No, it is.
It'd be awesome if Dawido drew the unbuffed Misha at that
With the way it worked with Twilight Acolyte, I don't know anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm 100% sure I've seen buffed minions thrown back into the deck multiple times in the past day.
Well, yeah.
And I still don't know.
Okay.
My information retention is below average, to say the least.
It is pretty early in the morning for a lot of those people who are joining us. I know some people on the East Coast of America or Eastern Time in just the Americas in general.
Yeah.
I know Brian Kilber probably will be posting something about Shiro waking him up.
Yep. Seems to happen every day.
Yep. Brian, we missed you. Spellstone comes out, but that is exactly what Viper is looking for. Second Dusky Boy, followed by the Big Brother. Subject 9 has to come out. That's Dawido's best play. Dire Mole is not what he's looking for, but even then, what secrets is he really looking for? I think he just wants to use this to make sure he doesn't draw those secrets from his deck.
Yeah. Secret draws at this stage would be a terrible draw. So Subject 9, actually a pretty good tool right now.
Also, because he set up that Freezing Trap, needs to kill Command Dustbreaker to prevent that from bouncing back to Viper's hand, because Dustbreaker could also still be at 5 or 6 mana, and it'd still be a very reasonable card, if not very good. At 4 mana, it's just insane.
Yeah, it's like the Arcane Dinosaur. I don't know what it's
Arcanosaur.
Really? That's what it is?
Yes. Wow, we just simulated a design meeting. Hey guys, what should we call this really cool dragon that feeds off of elemental energies that destroys the board when it gets played after you've synergized with your deck building by having an elemental sequence in the turn prior to playing it?
Well, it's a dinosaur that uses arcane. Arcanosaur.
Give that man a raise.
Same with Robosaur.
Get him on the YouTube video and for developer insights.
It's a robot dinosaur. What are we gonna call it?
Hey, TJ in the back. TJ's like, Robosaur?
It's genius.
I mean, you've been up all night taking care of Oliver, your son, so I don't blame you.
Disclaimer, I have no input whatsoever on any stage of Hearthstone's design.
So what do you do then?
What am I doing right now?
I don't know. Not casting Hearthstone, that's for sure. That's definitely not doing that.
I'm having an existential crisis right now.
What are you doing? Who are you? What are you? All right, enough chit-chat. Dawido is kind of in dire straits, sees an Alex Straza, can't immediately deal with it, has Wandering Monster to block an attack, but even then, it's still just a temporary band-aid on the bigger picture that he is getting outvalued. Secrets are fantastic early game to help build Spellstone, control the state of the board. Things like Explosive Trap, that's not going to do anything late game. Snake Trap, Venom Strike Trap, I mean, they're okay, but they get punished by Primordial Drake and Cabal Shadow Priest.
Yeah. It is the kind of build-your-own-board secret package with Wandering Monster, Snake Trap, and Venom Strike Trap.
Yeah.
But, like you said, unfortunately, Viper seems to have answers for just about everything, and Dawido's just out of stuff. Out of stuff, out of damage. Has to go face and hope that Master's Call comes off the top and he's can refill the board with 7/7 Mishas.
Yeah, I mean, he can even just shuffle with Psychic Scream, to be honest. Doesn't have to do anything too fancy, because shuffling in 3 1/1s into your opponent's deck is also pretty devastating. The only downside is you shuffle Alex Straws into your opponent's deck. I'm okay with Shadow Priest or the... I'm honestly okay with Primordial Drake, too.
Give up your Primordial Drake, though. That's...
I'm just telling you possibilities. I think any / all of these are perfectly acceptable. And Dawido does not have Deathstalker Rexar. Does have the Hyena. Here's the thing. Viper has a soft lethal setup here with the double Mind Blast and Alex Straza hit in the face. And there's almost nothing Dawido can do to stop it.
Well, he does have Wandering Monster in place, but there's going to be a minion left over, so... It looks like this is just going to be game.
Unless it is a specific taunt minion that can stay alive past the Cabal Shadow Priest attack.
Which would be the 3/8.
Yep. There's Bronze Gatekeeper, which is a 1/5 mech taunt.
Bronze Gatekeeper as well.
Yep. There is a couple of minions that come to mind.
The rage.
But not it. Drew the Scythe.
Me.
Just tickling the Cabal Shadow Priest. And double Mind Blast to wrap it up. Viper is going to get a win with his Control Priest. And, you know, this is one of those matchups where it looks okay for Secret Hunter on paper, but I personally think that Control Priest farms the Hunter. So always be careful about the data out there for all those people venturing out on ladder. Viper's going to tie up the series 1 game apiece. No. Viper's Odd Warriors banned. And we're going to go back to the Big Spell Mage. I was saying this, TJ, during the break to you. I feel like every time I watch Viper play on the HCT stage, he brings like a Big Spell Mage deck. And like he has to at least do one thing that is just like a little bit of a disaster. But it's also because, I mean, he plays these really long, drawn-out fatigue games, but it's usually because he ropes. Yeah. He ropes and he comes up with like a decision point that's like a little bit tricky. It's like, and he's always like really frustrated with himself on stream. He's like, And then we talk about it afterwards. I got a chance to even chat with him at HCT Philadelphia and tap into his mindset. And this guy, he's seriously very good at Hearthstone. It's just sometimes he seriously overthinks things. He needs to get moving.
Yeah, that's true. And I think we saw a little bit of that at the Summer Championship last year. Playing very intricate decks.
Back then, too.
Yeah, so I would tend to agree with you, but there's no questioning his success that he's had in Hearthstone thus far.
Sure.
He's got a spot in the World Championship. And,
He's top 8 at several tour stops this year. He's made 2 championship appearances, one in 2016, which he also did not play very well up to his own standards.
he also didn't bring very good decks.
Yes,
is a big
it
thing.
was a
He'll tell you that too.
It was a combination of like bad decks and not his best showing of performance. And then the summer championship, he played excellently all the way up against Bunny Hopper, where he got eliminated in the top 4. Like this play a lot, stabilizing on damage. Stonehill Defender is what you would think, but because of that poisonous effect, makes it very complicated for Stonehill Defender to come down cleanly. And all you really want to do is just make sure to line up your AoE correctly. Dragon's Fury against Spellstone is pretty much the big decision point for this early game, unless Dawido is able to take an alternative line. So like in this position, does Dawido want to charge up his Spellstone? Just say, you know what? Throw caution to the wind, go ham. Or am I going to take it a little bit slower? Plays Master's Call, coin out Subject 9, play a little bit more secrets, and try to drag this out.
It's tough because the earlier you get Spellstone online, the less likely the mage is to have removal.
Yeah, but Viper did keep a card or two.
He did keep a card. Did he keep one?
I think he kept
Dragon's Fury and Frostless Jaina, yeah.
Oh, did he keep Frostless Jaina? I thought.
Yeah. Frostless Jaina was, I believe that was option for Mulligan as well. So keep it 2 cards. You pretty much know that that's some form of AoE and Jaina, maybe Raven's Familiar as well.
Yeah, it could be like anti-aggro cards like that, like maybe the Tar Creeper, maybe a Dragon's Fury, but...
Yeah, and this is an interesting situation for Viper because he doesn't know if he can attack this Voodoo Doll into one of these minions to get the activation onto the Crackling Razor Maw, because it could be Freezing Trap, and then it removes its effect.
Yeah, and Dawido took a long time to make the decision, which is it's part of those mind games. This might seem like a very small detail that may be overanalyzing it, but players do take into account how long you wait before playing a secret.
Or how long you take to discover a minion, say from Stonehill Defender, from Shadow Visions, things like that.
So, if Dawido instantly played a secret, I think that communicates Freezing Trap very fast. Pushing damage. And Viper takes the safe route. I don't blame him. But this is also partially why players pace themselves. They say no matter what, like I think Amnesiac was telling me about it specifically. And the reason why people like me and Honorable talk a lot about Amnesiac stories is because he's one of the few players that tells us like insight to his play styles. Yeah. A lot of players keep that stuff secret to their chest, because they don't want to give away their patterns.
Or they don't know how to express it.
Or maybe English isn't their first language, etc. But Amnesiac talks a lot, especially to me and Honorable, about like his play styles and preferences. And he says that he tries these days to not even act unless it's like a turn 1 or 2 play. Until the rope starts burning, because then he says it makes it difficult to read him. You're not sure like if he's thinking like very aggressively or very defensively. Speaking of aggressive, coin Spellstone. I mean, that's kind of what he was going for by playing the Wandering Monster, I think. And he's saying, you know what? If you got it, you got it. And you got.
Yeah.
Get got, Dawido.
I would have kind of liked to see Subject 9 there, because Subject 9, that 4/4 is actually kind of annoying for Viper to remove. What does he do on turn 5 to remove it? He could have played Stonehill Defender, but then you kill with Poisonous and push 4, and you have a bunch of secrets in your hand to buff up that Spellstone even more. I guess he wanted to get it down before the bigger AoEs could come down. He's saying, if you don't have Dragon's Fury, I basically win the game because I push so much damage and can whittle you away with steady shots and kill commands. But Subject 9 was pretty good, and I guess this is a similar situation, but now Viper has a lot more room to work with.
Ooh. So this is part of why Viper, I think, was laughing, because part of Secret Hunters that they have like all these cheap secrets. So when you play Raven Familiar, you have a very high chance of winning the joust. But because Dawido just drew the remainder of his secrets, the only low-cost spell was tracking. So there's actually a decent chance that Dawido would hit something heavier, like another Spellstone or a Wing Blast. And then Viper, of course, had a chance of whiffing on it.
But Viper also, on his end, has drawn a few of his cheap spells with Dragon's Fury and one Polymorph already being drawn. So Flame Strike, Meteor, Blizzard.
I kind of wonder if he wants the polymorph or just set up the Stonehill Defender. Polymorph's more mana efficient, but doesn't feel that great. Ooh.
Okay.
How you gonna do my boy Silverback Patriarch like that? He was ready. He was willing and able.
Yeah, he could have discovered another taunt. Oh, wait.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's like companion of Stonehill Defender, right? Stonehill Defender is like the 1/4 taunt and Silverback Patriarch. But riddle me this, TJ.
Okay.
Is Stonehill Defender a beast?
No.
Yeah, there you go.
Well,
Power creep deconfirmed.
I mean, it's a turtle.
Yeah, and turtles aren't beasts. Never mind the fact that Ornery Tortoise, which is a new card from Roscon's Rumble,
Oasis Snapdraft.
is also a turtle.
It is not a domesticated beast.
Well, is Mal'Ganis a turtle?
Well, Dan, let me put on my lore glasses here. Stonehill Defender is actually a Tortolan, which is a humanoid turtle.
Actually, he's technically a shell raiser. I don't know. I don't know anything about WoW.
Shellraiser is also a type of Tortolan.
You play a lot of WoW, so you should be able to.
Not so much lately, but at the beginning of Battle for Azeroth, I was trying to improve my status with the faction of the Tortolans.
Stop pushing up glasses because you're not wearing any, TJ. It's much funnier for dramatic effect if you're actually wearing fake glasses.
But unfortunately, I wasn't able to reach exalted status in time.
All right, well, Dawido's best proactive play is this Animal Companion. If you can get a Huffer, get the Crackling Razor off for the big Wind Fury plays. If I'm Viper, I'm setting up this Lich King and I'm playing Frosted Jaina, and that's that.
Yeah. Dawido can do the same thing he did with Odd Paladin, though, and kind of put on as much pressure as possible. Maybe make Frosted Jaina not playable.
Ooh. Well, the setup is a little bit less powerful because he only has a Dire Maul as opposed to the Crackling Razor Maul, but he doesn't know what adapt he wants, right? That's part of the issue.
Yeah.
So does Viper want to avoid taking this 5 damage? Let's say Dawido has some way to get past this really easy with the combination of Wing Blast and other stuff.
Well, Dan, I want to play the Flame Strike for 2 reasons. Dawido just played Master's Call, which means it's likely that he has Scavenging Hyena plus Crackling Razor Maul. If the Lich King gets dealt with and Dawido develops a big board, Viper's in the same situation he was against Odd Paladin. Will never be able to play Frosted Jaina.
It's true.
By clearing the board now and then playing Frosted Jaina, you can follow that up with the Lich King once the board is a little bit more manageable. So I honestly like the Flame Strike.
Yeah, but then you're also in that similar position where you don't. Oh, sorry, that position. You're on the opposite side of that problem, which is you don't have like AOE, and if your opponent goes wide on the board after you know they've played Master's Call, it gets a little tricky.
Yeah.
Now Dawido has Tundra Rhino and Scavenging Hyena. Can he make some magic here?
No.
Okay.
If he had 9
Side
mana, he
question.
could Crackling Razor Maw
Oof.
and Scavenging Hyena with the Tundra Rhino, be able to charge in with the Scavenging Hyena that's been buffed. But because he can't Scavenging Hyena and Crackling Razor Maw with the Tundra Rhino, he has to decide one or the other.
Right.
And if he just plays Scavenging Hyena, Tundra Rhino, then he can't even get through the Lich King without attacking in his own Tundra Rhino.
Yeah, and there's so much single target removal for big threats. There's Flame Strike and AoE for the small wide boards. And if you take it too slow, Lich King might pick up another card that might wreck you. No poisonous.
Ooh, no +3 attack as well.
Defensive tools plus Wind Fury.
Which means that this Lich King is sticking around.
Is that a preemptive trade from Dawido, or is he bluffing?
Preemptive trade.
See, now that's what gets me a little bit. You set up like these secrets to make sure that the Lich King can't feel comfortable attacking. But so what you do is if you let that Misha survive on the board, then it becomes another way to buff the Scavenging Hyena when you play on the following turn, right? Because isn't this all just a setup for Tundra Rhino? Double Lynx Rushers plus the Hyena?
It is.
Well, I mean, if I'm Viper, 23 seems like a very reasonable health and or health total, and you know,
he was doing the math though. He's trying to think.
Yeah, Tundra Rhino.
Do I die?
Well, because you know the 2 beasts die on board.
Yep.
So
let's say Tundra Rhino plus double Scavenging Hyena.
Okay.
And then 2 beasts die, so the Scavenging Hyenas go up to
6, 12,
14 damage is pushed. And they're still at 4 health, so Flame Strike still clears them.
Yep. And you have the Water Elemental next turn as well. Plus, whatever you pick up, Doom Pact. That's a great pickup for Viper.
Oh, jeez. There's only...
This is not looking
one
good.
Scavenging Hyena and 1 Spring Paw left?
Yes.
Is that correct?
I wonder.
For the Master's Call. There's no Dire Mauls. No Crackling Razor Moss.
Yep, Subject 9's out.
Tundra Rhino's in the hand. He only has 1 copy.
So it's basically just 1 Hyena left.
And 1 Spring Paw, I believe.
Right.
So Dawido's going to play all the bees, make the strongest board possible, also push the most damage possible. Which if he trades in every beast, it's 12. Looks like he's not going to trade in every beast. It's 11 this way. And he gets us to keep around the 1-3.
Yep, and now Viper gets the opportunity to trigger all his secrets and AoE. Has to be mindful of what are the worst possible combinations, but for the most, I think everything should be okay.
Well, worst possible combination would be a beast that dies from the Wandering Monster.
You are right. So what he could do instead is attack a
minion.
Yeah, and then Doom Pact. Most likely, every beast that gets summoned from Zul'jin, you can just clear with a Flame Strike, right?
Yes.
Alternatively, can Viper simply, like, polymorph and then...
Tar Creeper?
Yeah.
You don't want to leave the Tundra Rhino on board, I don't think.
Yeah.
So I think attack minion Doom Pact ping off a 1/1 is...
And then play a Tar Creeper.
And then play a Tar Creeper.
That seems good to me. A lot of cards that get missing from his deck list, but that's not what's important. What's important is survival. Your dog, Lettuces. None of these cards sting that badly. They're all kind of...
Ooh, okay, that one stings.
Yeah, that one stings the most.
That one, yeah. Outside of... Oh, no, he has Dragon Claw Alana in hand. I guess Lich King may have stung a little bit more than that.
Well, yeah, but that was the Lich King that he got off of Stonehill Defender.
Yeah, I know. So he still has the natural Lich King in his deck.
Yep, and of course he can still just generate water elemental threats because Dawido will eventually want to still play minions.
Yeah.
In fact, does Dawido want to trade off this 1/1 first before doing it?
I don't think he has played enough spells to...
He's played a Spellstone, he's played Animal Companions, he's played Secrets, he's played Master's Call.
Yeah, so he just needs the 6 board spaces.
Okay.
And if he gets Leok, it's more damage.
True that. Leok would be a little bit more damage.
And these are the last 2 beasts from the deck.
Oh, also gets the coin.
Ooh, nice. Ooh. Oh, the flanking strike. Forgot about that.
Yep. Oh, wow. Because Dawido waited too long, he had an extra mana from the coin. Could have used it to answer the Tar Creeper.
Or if he had traded in preemptively.
Or if he treated preemptively.
And that's also another reason to trade in preemptively, because it means that the spells that you use are less likely to target one of your own minions.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
I guess the upside is you get Leok and you can deal more damage. The downside is... There's more downsides than upsides, I feel, in that situation.
I agree. Now Viper can activate the freezing trap. He knows all the secret possibilities Freezing Trap, Wandering Monster, Snake Trap. So you should be able to clear everything with one decisive Flame Strike.
Yeah, and still gets to ping off one of these 1/1s before the Flame Strike, so
Yes.
no reason to freeze the Water Elemental instead.
And I think this is the March that potentially ends it all.
Violence knows no bounds.
Yeah, that's not going to do much. Dawido needs Deathstalker XR soon.
And by soon, you mean now.
He still has a turn. I think he can wait, but he can't wait that much longer.
I don't know about that. Dragon Call Alana is probably just going to come down next turn. I think it's got 3 spells, which is plenty.
It's true. It's true. Dragon Call on. There's a handful of spells being played already. So
Yeah, there's a Doom Pact, a Flame Strike, a Dragon's Fury, and I think that's it.
a meteor.
Was there a Meteor played?
I think so.
On what? I don't know. We'll see, I guess.
3 health. Yeah, I mean, maybe just Viper takes it even slower. Ooh, Arcane Artificer. Is there a way that you can set up that Water Elemental train this turn? I don't think so.
There is with Polymorph, but it's quite a big tool, and Viper knows at some point he'll have to deal with Deathstalker Rexar. So I think that's got to be saved. You could always go for, oddly enough, nah, never mind. Ignore me, Dan. I have his 9 cards left in his deck. I think 6 of them are minions.
Yeah, I think Flame Strike doesn't really get that much better because your opponent's already ran out of organic minions. Okay. This is fine too, but you know, part of the logic of what I was saying is that you don't really get many more minions to use like a Flame Strike against, because if they play Deathstalker Rexar, they're not really going wide, they're going tall. And then you also charge up Dragon Caller Lana for the following turn. So I like that, but this builds up the best board, I think.
Yeah, I think there's also a Spellstone, actually.
Oh, you could be right. Yes,
Yeah.
I think so. You're absolutely right.
So Spellstone might be the fear for Viper. If he doesn't pick up another AoE spell off the top, it means that he'd have no answer to Spellstone.
If you're Dawido, do you start immediately going for that Deathstalker Rexar? Because it's very clear that you're not going to end it with your hand currently. So you can tracking for it, but you also cut down the amount of draws that you have before you start hitting fatigue damage.
Yeah. Significantly. By 3. He'd have 2 cards left in his deck afterwards. And then if he hits Spellstone on the tracking and Deathstalker Rexar, it means that he can't pick both. Spellstone could be crucial, but I think at this point, he has to understand that Viper probably will have AoE for whatever he's played, like for the Spellstone he plays all the small stuff. And if he thinks that this is the last turn that he'll be able to even have a chance with Rexar, they would have to play it despite fatigue. Maybe get some Raptor hatchlings to cycle back in this deck to offset it a little bit. But gonna wait a turn.
So it just feels so weak. But Dawido's going to try to do his best, and that Lich King draw, I think all but settles it.
Yeah.
If it wasn't already. Even if Dawido got some magical way to stay alive against Dragon Caller Lana, Lich King is just extra gas on top. And that, my friends, is perhaps why Deathstalker Rexar was a really good opportunity to draw here for Dawido. But do you just? I guess you would want to hero power now, just in case you pick up a very expensive piece for 9 or more. That's not it. He needed some kind of poisonous blowpat or cave hydra.
Can he buy a turn potentially with Nesting Rock if he gets a big taunt minion on the other side?
Is there any minions remaining in the deck?
No.
So how do we even activate the taunt of Nesting Rock?
Well, just if he picked up a taunt on the second piece, because it's the highest health.
Yeah, looks like that's the case.
I mean, he could. I think he still has a Dire Frenzy left in his deck, so he could Dire Frenzy the Lynx and then get it. But he's going to be dead long before that's relevant, I feel.
For sure. And I mean, Viper can also just play a weak minion like the Tar Creeper. In fact, Tar Creeper will stop the Bloat Bat charge if it's too high health.
Yep.
So it's great. Good positioning to make sure that his Water Elemental is safe. Bloat Bat, Jungle Panther. Not quite. Bloat Bat was another opportunity in case you wanted to gain life. So what we could have done was play Bloat Bat and say the Vicious Scale Hide. And Dawido's going to concede 2 games in a row. Viper 1 more game away from going to the championship as he has defeated Hunter twice, right?
Yeah, Summer Champs.
God, I don't even know anymore, man. We recorded a piece with Viper about how he likes to play stuff to beat the metagame and does his own thing, and you can't really trust like ladder data for things like, you know, Control Breeze. And I'm like, this is just exactly what's going on right now.
It's a little bit different because, though technically his Shaman does have Shudder Walk, I would not classify it as a Shudder Walk Shaman. And even if we think back to Summer Championship where he qualified via playoffs, of course.
Yeah.
He even brought Miracle Rogue, which is kind of his thing. It has been one of his things for a long time. So just a very... Yeah, everything comes full circle, it feels like, in the story of the Hearthstone Championship Tour.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's a rogue lover, and I think, you know, those kinds of players are some of the scariest, the Miracle Rogue enthusiasts over the years. And I mean,
would have wanted me one of them in the back alley.
You don't have to even look too much farther than right in his home country. You know, Casey is also in the top 8, and he was also a Miracle Rogue lover.
He was.
And, you know, those players are just deadly because they understand how... I mean, I always thought that Miracle Rogue was just like a really cool deck because it was a perfect hybrid of being an aggressive deck, but also combo-oriented, but also playing value because you often go into the late game.
Yeah, it's a very scary thing because they know how to piece together massive damage in a single turn, which is not particularly fun or interactive.
Save it for meme history, dude. So here's one of the more interesting cards in the deck. We have Lone Champion. This card gains Divine Shield and Taunt if there are no other friendly minions on the battlefield, and that works with Shudder Walk, so you can play it as a battle cry if your board's clear. Yeah,
it's so weird the direction that Control Shamans go because it almost feels like it's rare that you ever want a totem.
Right, because toteming, I mean, you have so much AoE in your deck for one thing, and totems don't actually help your deck that much outside of Taunt Totem.
No, outside of Taunt Totem and occasionally Spell Power Totem, but 2 things. 1, this deck does not run Lightning Storm. And 2, even a Spell Power Totem makes Volcano worse.
Yes.
So it just kind of works against itself in that way.
Well, if you're an amateur Hearthstone player. If you're a pro Hearthstone player, Volcano and Spell Damage Totem work really well together.
Yeah. Because that's the difference.
Yeah. The 1 copy of Tidal Surge, is it 1 copy?
I think it's 2 copies.
It's 2 copies.
Yeah.
Really powerful with Zentimo as well. I've had a lot of games where I'm like, I'm going to die. I don't have like Healing Rain or anything. And then bam, Zentimo, Tidal Surge, gain a ton of life, clear the board basically.
Yeah. Zentimo can do some pretty crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Especially with Hagatha. Like, I think, what was it? It was just yesterday. Viper had a game where Zentimo frost shocked to freeze a stealth Zombies to buy him time to fatigue out that Hunter and win the game. Poor Soddle and Admirable.
What is going on with Hearthstone these days? There's just some really crazy late game scenarios that you can piece together.
Yeah. It's kind of fun. Honestly, I'm excited to get to watch this deck in action just because the ways it wins and clears boards, you got to be creative.
The one thing I'm kind of sad is that Viper doesn't have the Unstable Evolution variant of this deck list that plays very greedy. So what you end up doing, it actually gives you a reason to totem, because then you have the ability to use Unstable Evolution. And then if you have Kragwa in your hand, you just play like 3 or 4 Unstable Evolutions, and then you get 3 or 4 copies back the next turn.
Which is insane.
Yeah, and then you just totem. So that's what it really ends up giving you a lot of range. And I know like a lot of other people kind of agree with me. And I feel like I reference Brentkeeper a lot this because I watch his stream, because he just plays really fun meme decks all the time. And he really loves the deck. You know, surprise, surprise, he likes Dragon Shaman. And his variant has the Unstable Evolutions, and I find them very effective on ladder.
And somehow his games are always rigged to put him in the craziest possible situations.
Yeah.
And literally every time he summons a random legendary, he summons Geosculptor Yip.
Or I mean, and if he doesn't, then it's like it's usually the games that happen off stream. Like he always tweets about how he has like the wackiest games off stream. Like I sit next to him at like talent meetings and whatnot and behind the scenes where he's always playing Hearthstone. It is true. He really does get some really crazy stuff. And with Zentimo, you get some amazing synergy because when you have Zentimo and you have unstable evolution, your own minion, it applies to all three.
Yeah.
So you get some really high value stuff.
Yeah.
All right, now that being said, Viper has held onto his coin for a while. He had the opportunity to coin out the Ziliax the previous turn, and I think he was just trying to see if he needs to hold onto this coin to push out, say, the Zentimo coin title search next turn, or if he needs to even save it for the Primordial Drake. Because you do get blown out by those early game Spellstones. And in this case, Dawido's going to burn a card. Razor Maul's not the end of the world.
Well, it is one of the more powerful cards in the deck, I feel. Especially in this matchup, when it's going to be hard for you to piece together enough damage to win. Sometimes you have to get creative with Tundra Rhino.
Okay.
Plus Scavenging Hyenas, plus Charges, which allows you to get Wind Fury, plus 3 attack. Poisonous to push through a taunt on one of your Lynxes. I actually do think it's one of the more important cards in the deck.
Okay.
He can always Dire Frenzy it.
Well,
the second one.
I've played a lot of this deck, and I feel like if the deck doesn't crack under pressure, it does run the risk of just getting outvalued in the late game because there's a finite amount of threats. So if Dawido's able to partition his resources accordingly, like I actually wouldn't even hate if he played Deathstalker Rexar, but he does have like a hand issue, and plus he has Zul'jin, so you probably want to sequence it so that Zul'jin's played first before Deathstalker Rexar.
Quickly.
Whoa, full secrets. Dumping
Yeah.
his hand a little bit, trying to build a little bit of a board. No Spellstone in hand, but maybe he'll give Viper the... Make him assume that it is. That's a possibility as well. Oh, yeah.
Rain of Toads, that's a fantastic card. Snake Trap, not going to be that big of a deal because Dragon Moss Scorcher clears it off, but it's the Venom Snake Trap. I guess he could just Earthshock it. There's not too many targets worth Earthshocking.
He can send Timo Earthshot.
Yeah.
Oh,
A.K.A. Dragon Ball Scorcher.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Zentimo Earthshock. Really good. Okay. So, let's say you get that Huffer. You attach the Dire Frenzy onto that Huffer.
Yeah.
I like it.
That's best case scenario.
That's a 1 in 3.
Deck's very reactive, so damage from hand is something that Viper might struggle to deal with.
Ugh. Not the best. Do you want to Dire Frenzy the Cobra now? Because you get a trade.
It's a favorable trade.
And Rossi said in these situations, always value trade.
AVT.
I wonder.
I mean, I actually do like the value trade in this position.
I mean, what else are you going to do?
Well, you could push damage.
You could put, well, yeah, but if you don't play Dire Frenzy, that's what I mean.
Oh.
Is there anything else that he could possibly do?
I mean, Fusion Trap's not great here. I guess it'd be Wandering Monster and Hero Power and push 3 damage from the Cobra. Okay.
This one's a bit spicy.
So he values the Leok. I think it's because of the higher health totals. No, I don't think that applies, right? Because it'd still be a 5/6, so it's not that big of a difference. I mean, Leok has better synergy with the deck than Emperor Cobra. And there only can be one Emperor.
Emperor Thorsen.
Yeah, but I meant like there only could be one Emperor, right, for this game.
Emperor Thorsen.
Yeah, well, for a game of Standard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, now it's time for Zentimo Earthshock.
I mean...
It's a board clear. Zentimo sticks around.
Yeah.
What else are you going to Earthshock? I'm trying to think. I don't think there's really anything else outside of zombies.
Well, I mean, you can also, Zentimo Hex, save the damage on your Dragon Ball.
Yeah, but I feel like Hex is a more valuable resource than
It's
Earthshock.
way... Actually, because of that, you might want to hold on to Zentimo. What if you just, like...
Oh, that's true.
What if you just Zola'd?
Or just Earthshock. Because really the Zentimo value here is just to remove a vanilla silence 2-1.
This is fine. Yeah, Rain of 2.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
1 copy. Spreading Frogs!
Electra Rain of Toads is pretty insane,
Yeah.
which we saw Viper do yesterday. We've only seen him play like one game of this deck, or a couple games of this deck on stream. And we've already seen some of the craziest stuff that the deck has to offer.
It gets really weird in the late game.
Yeah.
Especially when you're starting to like factor in Cragwall and how like you have to budget your resources so you can get certain things back. And then Hagatha throws in like a big mix because you can get a bunch of spells that combo with Zentimo.
Another reason to hold on to Zentimo is because of that.
TJ, I'm already gonna call it. I think this game's going to fatigue.
Probably. Viper's not killing Dawido anytime soon. That's for sure. And Dawido's not killing Viper anytime soon. That's also for sure.
If that's the case, then Dawido doesn't want to draw. So that means 2 cards, Tracking and Master's Call, will be dead. Oh, he's gonna draw.
It's kind of a catch-22, if you will, Dan. If he draws, then he gets closer to fatigue and may lose at fatigue. But if he doesn't draw, then Viper gets further ahead on board.
Right,
and he'll lose.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, and then he'll lose in fatigue.
Yeah. No, I hear you loud and clear. Viper should know that this is either Freezing Trap or Wandering Monster because of the process of elimination.
Explosive Trap or Wandering Monster, yeah.
Yeah, most Secret Hunter these days play a one-of copy of each. They just don't really have enough slots to afford double copies of Secrets, more than maybe one. So you should be able to narrow it down. Sees, that it's not Freezing Trap. Ooh, the Healing Totem.
So much value.
It's a lot.
Yeah?
And especially if this lands multiple turns in a row. I don't think there's a real need for Viper to attack into here. I think he can just pass. Dawido picks up the Leok, so that gives a little bit of value to the Lynx.
Yeah. 5/7 Leok.
Yep, which gives the Tundra Rhino additional damage and helps clear off a lot of the board.
Yep.
And that sets up for Dawido to play Zul'jin into Deathstalker Rexar. So he's got his next few turns mapped out fairly well, but Viper is ready to answer it.
And also a problem with Dawido is Zul'jin's actually not that high value right now. He'll draw more cards,
Right.
which isn't necessarily a good thing. He has not played a Spellstone, so he won't get that huge board presence back. He's played an Animal Companion, a Dire Frenzy, and a Master's Call, and a bunch of Secrets. But he's able to clear out the board position.
Yeah. I wonder if Viper, like, what's he going to use to remove? I think keeping Zentimo is actually fairly important. So I also think Volcano is a card that can really bait you because you're thinking, oh, I'm going to save this because there's just really good opportunities to deal even more damage than just 7. But then they summon like 1 extra wolf too many on a Zul'jin or off of like some combos, and then you regret using that Volcano. Or holding on to it.
So then, what's the least valuable? He's just gonna throw out the Zentimo right now.
Well, I was thinking of holding on to Zentimo, Tidal Surge, and just playing Volcano, but Viper feels good enough to just toss it out. Plus, he can copy it next turn if this doesn't get dealt with. Which Dawido picks up the Flanking Strike.
Problem with Flanking Strike is there's not much else to do unless he wants to play Deathstalker Rexar, which he doesn't because he wants to get Zul'jin value before that happens. Unless he just never plays Zul'jin for the entire game.
Yeah. Also, Dawido can't really play Tracking because he has Zul'jin, so he has to save it for afterwards. Otherwise, he's just going to Tracking 3 cards and then ditching 2 of them. This is a tough spot for Dawido.
Viper scratching his beard. Like the mad genius he is.
I kind of like a spell dump here from Dawido because it kind of sticks to your plan. Like, you're not going to win because you kill command at the face. You're not going to win because of other things, but you might win if you build up a big board with Zul'jin into Deathstalker Rexar.
Yeah, that's really the only possibility. I mean, how Viper is pretty much drawn dead.
Yeah, this is definitely a side effect of playing this kind of deck where you just draw a little bit awkwardly at times because there's nothing. You have a bunch of reactive and combo cards. You don't really have too many proactive things to do.
Yeah. You need some value generators like Stonehill Defender, Haunting Visions, Alista Trailblazer, Kragwa, Hagatha, Shudderwalk. This actually done. Holy moly.
Yeah, it's like Viper typed in Legendary into the Shaman class search, and then just added everything that's not Grumble.
Yep.
And Murabi.
Seems like this is a pretty expensive deck. It has Keleseth, Electra, Zentimo, Zola, Elise, Ziliax, Kragwa, Hagatha, and Shudderwalk. A third of the deck is legendaries. Nearly a third.
Hey, you gotta get those packs, man. If you're gonna keep up with the best of them.
Yeah.
All right.
Ooh.
Summon some minions. Oh no!
That happened. Did that happen?
Oh no!
It happened before the Dire Frenzy. If he was able to land Dire Frenzy on Huffer,
Yeah, would have been nutty.
it would have been nutty.
That is not what Dawido was hoping for. End up not doing much.
Ooh.
Big Daddy Shudderwalk comes to the hand.
Not many battle cries. Lone Champion.
Yep.
Dragon Ball Scorcher. And that's it.
That's kind of it, yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder.
And Gluttonous Ooze? Did he play Gluttonous Ooze? Doesn't matter, though. Probably going to want to wait till he plays Primordial Drake and Zola at the very least. Has a Volcano clear here, but is that what he wants to do?
Yeah, I think a Volcano is okay in this position. Your opponent just used Zul'jin, so this is kind of like one of the bigger boards that can get developed.
Mm-hmm.
You still have a second Volcano in case your opponent just plays like a Spellstone. Does he totem afterwards? Does it even matter? Well, I'm saying like this. I guess the taunt totem would be nice to stop any potential extra damage coming into him, but you know, there's is a very easy removal with the hero power.
Yeah, but forcing that 2 mana might have some merit. Now is the time for Deathstalker Rexar. There, he still has the big Leok. Double kill command. No Tundra Rhino left. That's a big one.
Yeah,
So can't go for those big turns later. I think Deathstalker Rexar might need to come down soon.
I like it. I think it's fine. You can squeeze in hero power as well before you end up playing anything, which is good.
Take out that pesky Stoneclaw totem.
The eternal hunt has begun.
Dawido's gonna search for a proper zombies, but he has to be careful because almost anything he plays can get easily answered.
Ooh, those aren't the best options. Corpse
Yeah.
Widow can be interesting if you stick it on the board and you keep getting Death Rattle zombies. Haunting Mastiff is also interesting if you picked up a cheap beast from the get-go. It looks like Hungry Crab plus the Echo Rush.
The Hunting Mastiff, yeah.
Hunting Mastiff, 3/3s.
I was really hoping he'd pick the Gubarashi chicken because then Viper would
Gubarashi! The Gubarashi strikes again.
Yeah, the Gubarashi chicken. And so if he gets the Searing Totem, then it just becomes 7-1?
That chicken is such a goober.
Why are you laughing so hard?
Nothing. Just
Okay.
can't you read my mind?
Huh?
What can't you read my mind?
Why can I or why can't I?
Why can't you? You never know what I truly want.
Maybe we haven't casted it enough together over the years, TJ.
It's Gurubashi.
That's what I said. What?
Yes,
Are
it
you
is.
trolling
Dan.
me right now, TJ?
Yes, it is.
Good value picked up off this Leok and Hungry Crab. I mean, I think that Leok Dire Frenzy is paying off pretty well, I have to admit.
Yeah, I can't help but feel it would be better with something else. Leok, it feels like, while it does have a little bit of immediate board impact, it's not enough to put on a good amount of pressure. Viper's right in his comfort zone.
Wonder.
You say that as he anxiously rubs his face and tries to hone in on his
That's his
concentration.
comfort zone.
All right, what battle cries have been? I should have been taking notes, man. My my
I'll tell you.
tablet has kind of run out of power here.
Dan, I will tell you, it's been a lone champion in a Dragon Maul Scorcher and a Primordial Drake.
Okay. I'm gonna
So
take
he'll
that.
deal 3 damage to everything on the board, and if Shadow walks his only minion, you can taunt Divine Shield.
Okay. Hold on.
And now he's played a Stonehill. Oh!
Yeah, Hex is okay to use here. Lich King can pick up powerful spells, but can also synergize with Cragwall, which synergizes with Shudderwalk.
Wow. Yeah.
Discover a beast, the Gubarashi chicken. Honestly, I think that the Stubborn Gashapot can get a lot of work done if you're really worried about like late game value, but these are all very cheap minions, which is not what Dawido wanted. So if you end up picking something very small, then
Might as well have a powerful effect.
Hyena.
Or just the highest stat pool, which is what he ended up going with the Bloodfin Raptor. Can make it a little bit bigger as well with some Spring Paw action.
Yeah, in fact, double Spring Paw plus the Wing Blast is available this turn. But I think it sets up for a Volcano number 2. So if he doesn't want that to happen, it's best to set up this, I think.
Yeah, just leave the board as is. There's a whole lot of health on the board.
13, 16, yeah. Also, interestingly enough, Hexed Frog is a beast, which makes the Hyena even bigger.
Yep. And you can't rip Volcano now because if it doesn't kill the Hyena but kills everything else, that's a disaster.
Yeah. You could set up walls of defenses, though. Well, I mean, so if you Volcano, you end up buffing your opponent's board. But you have things like Healing Rain and Cragwall for the following turns. So why not just set up, say, a bigger taunt wall,
wonder.
like Lich King and Stonehill Defender?
What did he play last turn?
Play Hex. So you just go to the Hex.
Oh, okay.
That's
Oh,
fine.
that's actually really good.
Yeah, I didn't think about the Hex
Yeah.
immediately.
I mean, that's not the highest value from Cragwall we've seen, but it's pretty darn good.
Yeah, I'd say so.
And Dawido draws Spellstone with barely any secrets left in his deck.
I don't think he has any secrets. He played Subject 9 already.
Yeah.
Ooh, Raptor Handling. Very nice if he wants to drag us down to fatigue, which likely be the case. And even things like the Stranglethorn Tiger makes it really powerful to its resistance against targeted effects.
Yeah. I don't know how good the Raptor Hatchling is, though, because while it does get you 1 card closer in fatigue, it's also a smaller minion, which forces out potential less removal from your opponent. And Viper's going to be super far ahead of Fatigue anyway. Because you have to pretty much at least +3 that most of the time.
Yeah.
Because of the pack, and Shutterwalk also giving a pack once Elise is played, plus Zola also giving a pack.
Yeah, it made sense when you played in Death Battle Hunter because you could cube it and then you could play Dead It and you could just keep extending your fatigue.
Yeah.
And we know that both Dire Frenzies have been played, like one before the Zul'jin and one after.
Yeah.
Let's see, is there a volcano clear? No, it doesn't look like it. Those frogs are really annoying. If anything, the Shutterwalk itself is what gives it possibility. And then you have to factor in the 5 secrets, which I believe are all the secrets in Dawido's deck. Yep, he's got Explosive Trap, Freezing Trap, Snake Trap, Venom Shake Trap, and Wandering Monster. Those are the 5 secrets up right now.
What to do?
If he wants, he can Zola and Cragwall again, but it'll take a ton of damage. And he would actually die.
Yeah.
This is actually super awkward.
What if he just Lich Kings instead?
To use the coin in that case and get a Stonehill Defender for an extra layer of protection.
Why not Zola the Lich King?
That's true. Yeah. Doesn't allow you to Zola the Elise, but I think Zola Lich King's honestly better than that. Because it's still a resource generator, it's also a bigger immediate threat on the board.
Yeah, that's true.
Frostmourne not the best pickup. I think Viper was hoping for pretty much Death and Decay. Maybe Death Grip to try and reduce the value of the Dire Frenzy, or even the Raptor Hatchling if he's able to kill that off before. Ooh, Huffer.
Yeah, Huffer makes a cameo. Very nice pickup here from Dawido.
It's actually incredibly close to
killing.
Yeah. So you can kill Command the Lich King, push with the Huffer.
Yeah, he's got 20 damage.
Yeah, he's got 20.
Oh, could he push? He has 21 damage. Oh man, you're right. He was actually 1 damage off lethal.
And these secrets are actually making this very difficult on Viper because he can't get past these frogs with his own frog. Civil War of the frogs.
Dude, it really is. It's like a civil war of the frogs, like you were saying. And what is Viper gonna do with all these taunts in the way? He has Healing Rain to heal up to 21. He can play Shutterwalk. I think Shutterwalk might be what he plays here.
If he plays Shutterwalk, he's dead.
Oh, because he can't attack, right? Because of the freezing trap?
Yeah. Might have to be Lich King again, or search with Stonehill Defender combined with a Healing Rain.
Yeah, Stonehill Defender and Healing Rain here is okay, I think. Not great, but okay.
And I think he's getting the secrets out of the way now.
Oh,
What?
boy. Oh, he's getting another Volcano back when he plays Cragwall, I guess?
Yeah, but his whole turn would be spent Cragwalling.
That's true, because the overload.
Go up to 21, so he'll survive. So he's hoping the Volcano weakens up the board enough. Is that way next turn?
He could draw Hagatha.
He could draw Hagatha.
Yeah, I think that's his out.
Yeah.
And he is... Is he barely alive? It depends on what the Zombies is, actually. If that has, like, charge of some kind, which I don't think it can.
It can, if it was Stone Tusk Boar.
The Blowbat's 4 mana, though.
Oh, yeah.
So it has to be a 2-mana charger.
Yeah.
Another Blowbat.
And Rush. So Viper's not dead, but he's very close to dead. And he only has 8 mana available next turn, so it kind of needs to be Hagatha, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a 1 in 10.
What else could he draw in the deck? He could draw this second copy of Healing Rain. He could Haunting Visions for something.
Primordial Drake, number 2.
Primordial Drake number 2, Ziliax.
No, he already played Ziliax.
He already played Ziliax, so
Yeah.
can't draw Ziliax. I knew that.
Could draw a Healing Rain.
Tidal Surge might be able to help
Yeah.
keep him alive.
Haunting Visions. It's got a decent amount of draws. I mean, he could also just get, like, Firefly. And he's just, you know, completely a sitting duck.
Well,
Maximum pressure. Hagatha or bust.
ooh. Pack it up, Dan. We're going to game 5.
Well, is there a Stone Defender card that can bail him out here?
Nope. Pack it up, Dan.
Not even Goldshire Footman?
Of my jungle.
Nope. You want me to say it again? Pack it up, Dan. We're going to game 5.
Bronze Gatekeeper here adds 5 more health. So it's, if he gets Taunt Totem, that's another 2 health.
He's still dead even with Taunt Totem.
Access denied.
He's dead every which way you want to slice it.
Are you sure about that?
6 damage goes into the Gatekeeper. 6 damage goes into the Stonehill. 3 damage goes
right.
into the Stoneclaw.
You right.
Kill command plus the extra 3 damage goes to the face.
All right.
Now he's just showing off.
Well, I mean, the late game prowess of Deathstalker XR is just so insanely high.
Yep.
And that's going to do it for game number 4. No more wasting time. You thought we were going to go to a break. We're going straight to game 5. Viper praying to get this over with because he does not want to fall in the lower bracket. This is a good opportunity for him. At least in theory. I
We
have
have
no
turned
idea in
our
practice if this is the
into
case.
our strength.
Well, Hex and Volcano are 2 great ways to start.
Oh, yeah.
Even Warlock, its win rate drops significantly when its first threat is answered. Also has Earthshock for Twilight Drake somewhere in the deck. If he picks up those, I think he's in business. Zentimo Hex is also gotta call that out.
Yep. 1/1 could be a nice blessing for Viper if he hexes and attacks with the 1/1.
He didn't play Fireflies.
He doesn't have any elemental chains, like no Kalamos in the deck.
I wonder why.
I think because maybe in Viper's mind, his path to victory isn't pressuring the even Warlock. He needs to just answer things and outvalue it over time, very slowly. Classic control style. Wow, double Mountain Giant, double Twilight Drake. I mean, Viper has the answers in his deck, but it might be a little bit hard if he's just going to go non-stop threat after threat. All the way through to Blood River Golden if it ends up getting to that case. Found Dawido, how scared are you of Earthshock in this spot?
Very, very scared.
But the punish isn't that bad. Because, you know, the thing about, you know, Earthshock's coming out is, well, you know, their opponent can push damage with other big plays and board development, but it's not like Viper's going to do much here.
I think Dawido's going to mind games himself into playing Mountain Giant.
Is that what Viper wants to do?
Yes, that's exactly what Viper wants. Because if he just plays a Twilight Drake, Viper's not going to pull the trigger on Volcano. Then Dawido's going to follow that up with another big minion and
Right.
put it out of range of
It's too late,
Volcano.
yeah.
Possibilities.
But on Dawido's side, if he plays Twilight Drake and gets Earthshocked, that's 1 mana for a 4-mana card, and also a very crucial card.
Oh, and a coin-plated beetle, so that is a nice 14 health for this Volcano to shut everything down. Well, second checkpoint cleared.
Yeah, and you almost have to pull the trigger on Volcano here. Because the same situation that I'd mentioned earlier would happen where one more threat would come down, Volcano would no longer be an option. Unless he wants to really let Dawido overextend and then go for the Electra plus Volcano.
Yeah, but you still have that in a couple turns, which allows you to, kill off a huge board.
Yeah,
Basically any board that's coming your way.
yeah. Tough part is the next turn coming up from Viper. He doesn't really have anything to fill the gaps.
That trade into the Mountain Giant, by the way, all but confirms why he didn't play that Firefly. Viper is not intending on attacking Dawido into the face until both Hooked Reavers have been played. There's just no incentive for him to. He doesn't have Burst. There's I think there's literally no damage from the hand in his deck. Yeah, absolutely zero. His best chance is a Discover or Hagatha or at least the Trailblazer pack. Dawido has an opportunity to play at Twilight Drake. He just doesn't want to get shut down by the Earthshock, but it's one of those things that we kind of talk about all the time. Force them to have it. If you don't play it, you give them time to draw it.
Yeah, Dawido's been doing that a lot. He's been playing around things that some have been there, but some haven't been there.
At the same time, Vulgar Homunculus in Acidic Swamp Ooze is similar power. It's 5 damage on the board developed. But I like Twilight Drake a lot better here. And Viper's got nothing, really, to answer it. So he can go back to the drawing board, maybe discover a taunt minion off the Stone Defender first.
Out of my jungle.
Ooh. Rotten Apple Bomb can be good to buy some time in the late game.
Yeah, I think Restoring Health is probably better than the Drakari Defender.
Well, Drakari Defender can help buff the Spellstone so that he gets off Hagatha in the league.
Yeah, it's true.
So there is some merit there.
Yeah.
Very, very, very little merit, but some.
I wonder if Dawido's going to get really brave now that he's seen no Earthshock and play his second Twilight Drake.
That would be solid. But Viper is in a position where he has plenty of time to buy for the Electra Volcano turn. And at that point, Dawido would be very light on threats left in the deck. The problem for Viper is the removal probably didn't line up the way he'd want it to. Because he'd want Volcano for the really big stuff and Earthshocks for Twilight Drakes.
Right.
But how it's going to turn out is he's going to use Volcanoes for the Twilight Drakes and then have Earthshocks later on when the big stuff needs to be removed.
Well,
Granny still has Cragwa.
Yeah,
He also
that's
has
Cragwa.
another Hex in the deck. A lot of ways he can make things happen.
and Dawido's side, I think he recognizes that if he plays the Gent Greymane, it's just once again vulnerable to a Volcano. So if he instead goes for a Homunculus plus the Twilight Drake, it should be enough to withstand the Volcano, because I think the Drake is at 8 life or 9 life, and then the Vulgar Homunculus puts things out of range. So I like that a little bit better. Oh, he's going for the Hooked Reaver. So that's
Exactly
just 15.
15.
Yeah, that's just exactly 15.
Oh, man. And funny thing is, Viper will have exactly...
Really?
Yeah. Viper has enough...
Wait, what was it? This didn't work out at all.
No, I don't know. I honestly don't know why second Twilight Drake didn't come down there.
Yeah, he didn't Earthshock the other Twilight Drake.
It was the
Yeah,
same
right.
power,
Yeah.
and Viper also can Cragwall next turn. He's not going to be facing much pressure. Cragwall will bring back another Volcano, which will give him another removal reload, so to
Right.
speak.
Oh! Wait, you still go for the Cragwall, right? Because you want to get the Volcano back. Because that's your second Volcano toss.
I don't know, man. I
think you do.
guess.
I think you do. Look,
Yeah.
you can take down the Twilight Drake anytime.
Yeah, you can kill the Twilight Drake next turn. I guess you're right. But
I mean, if anything, this Earthshock.
Okay.
Well, so this is so Dawido might like Bone Mare and then like push,
Yeah.
and then this is an opportunity for Viper to just commandingly sweep the board once again.
Yeah. Next turn, he can Earthshock, Bone Mare, and Healing Ray.
I
I mean, if he even needs the healing ring.
Or Earthshock Volcano, sorry, in healing ring, not Bone Mirror. I think I said Bone Mirror. Yeah. And if you're in Dawido's spot, he may make a trade. He may Bone Mirror and trade over the Kragwa.
Yeah.
To play around Zola, which is actually a pretty big deal if he Zolas the Kragwa. Because this is a resource battle for the Even Warlock. The Even Warlock doesn't have any way to generate extra value. The only way is Blood River Gul'dan, but it's not generating extra value. It's just kind of bringing back a little bit of the value that you played early on in the game. They don't have Dire Frenzy or Deathstalker Rexar or at least a Trailblazer or anything like that. Once their threats are gone, their threats are gone. Oh, no! Oh, no!
Oh, TJ!
The disrespect! Get this man out of here!
All right, stay calm. Yes. So what do we do with our 8 other mana today?
Why did he do that?
Look,
I'm so upset.
he did it because he hasn't seen an Earthshock this entire game, and this is his second Twilight Drake. So
But
he's like,
okay,
well,
here's my point. What's the difference between doing it on the Twilight Drake and doing it on the Acidic Swamp Ooze? You push the same amount of damage.
yes.
You're just as weak to Volcano, if that were to come out. There's no, you're not really weak to Primordial Drake or Shudderwalk.
Oh my goodness.
What's the difference between doing it on the Twilight Drake and doing it on the Acidic Swamp Ooze in that case? That's my question.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm missing something.
Maybe Agatha spread of damage? I don't think so.
But your Twilight Drake still lives. Yes, you lose recurring damage because the Acidic Swamp Ooze would die to Kragwa plus something.
Right.
Like Kragwa Primordial Drake or Kragwa Hagatha.
Okay.
But then you still have 2 good-sized minions on the board to keep pushing damage.
I mean, look, it's not like Dawido didn't think about it. He thought a very long time, and
Yeah.
I think it really came down to Viper has had opportunities to Earthshock several times and just didn't have it,
Yeah.
and felt like this was a really good way to lock Kragwa from doing anything else in terms of a trade. So I don't blame him for the logic. It just really did not pan out very well whatsoever, and
Yeah.
it blew up in his face, to say the least.
Yeah.
But he can push damage here with the Spellstone and Hellfire push.
Yeah. I guess also, I mean, I just think it doesn't really fit into the playstyle that he's been going with for the rest of the series, where he's kind of has been playing around worst case scenario.
I like this playstyle, though. Pushing damage to the face. Ooh. Lone champion!
Woo-hoo!
Yeah. Lone
What a
champion.
card.
I mean, I feel like you're kind of memeing TJ, but this is a very nice pickup here.
It is, yeah. I mean, there's no Spellbreaker in Dawido's hand right now. Well, he does have 2 copies in the deck, so it's actually not a guarantee. Well, what I'm looking at is Viper has a chance to get multiple healing rains. I don't know if he wants to pull the trigger on Kragwa again with that. But that's a pretty high value spell because it buys you a ton of time. And the more time that this deck has, the more likely it is to win. It will win in the ultra late stages of this game, regardless of which way you slice it, because eventually Dawido will just run out of things to do. And the 3 damage hero power from Blood River Gul'dan will not be enough to offset how far behind he'll be in fatigue and value.
I don't disagree. I mean, Drakari Defender is kind of a huge taunt wall that gets in front of the way of some of those minions from trading. You can play it right here, right now. Earth Elemental is a little bit, well, it's just not a little bit. It's a lot sturdier because it has 5 extra attack.
Yeah.
For 3 extra mana.
Viper getting a bit greedy with the Healing Rain. I think he wants the Healing Rain Volcano in the same turn.
Oh yeah.
That way Kragwall comes back.
Oh yeah.
With a vengeance.
If I'm Dawido, do I Blood Reaver Gul'dan in this spot?
He brings back a Hooked Reaver and a Vulgar Homunculus.
Yeah, but it's not really about the board, is it? It feels like your opponent has so many ways to deal with things on the board that it's not really going to come down to that.
I guess it's not about the board, especially since Dawido knows that there's another Volcano in hand.
It's true. I think with the healing rains too, it just makes it that Blood River Gul'dan can't close out the game, so play more minions, tap a lot more, develop.
Yeah, I think he's got to try to force out a Volcano before he plays Blood River Gul'dan.
Right.
And this is that force, or at least he assumes.
I mean, it's a light situation. It's light setup. So a volcano, does it clear in this spot?
There'd be 4, 1, 9, 10, 11. No, there'd be 16 health, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep, 16 health. I counted. You could,
Volcano Dragon Maw Scorcher.
yeah, volcano and Dragon Maw Scorcher, which is reasonable.
Then you don't get the ideal Crag Wall that it looked like he was searching for, but not healing running
Right.
last turn. But maybe it's just enough. One more Volcano is one more board push.
Maybe what he can do is Healing Rain and then Electro Volcano the following turn, and then Crag Wall the volcano back.
Crag Wall, double Volcano back.
Is that how it works?
No, because Electra's casting the spell, right?
Right.
Yeah. I think we saw that interaction yesterday.
There's little time.
But I don't know.
I
It
might
could
have
work
missed
that
that.
way.
Going for the Healing Rain. Oh, it's the Crag Wall set up. Yeah, this is the most likely outcome, which was that the Bone Mare survived because it had the most health. But you're always hoping that it doesn't go that way.
Yeah. The one problem that Viper could find himself in is if Dawido loads up this turn and he plays Cragwall, and then Dawido has more load up for the next turn, and Volcano can't clear, then he's in trouble, actually. So honestly, Dragon Ball Scorcher there, I think would have been better.
Maybe.
Because then you guarantee clear the board, you don't take extra damage, and you can chip away at some of the reload. Because this turn basically has to be Cragwall.
Yeah, it has to be Cragwall, and I think you're too scared to Totem because it might just be a useless Totem adding extra health, so you might want to Flame Elemental instead.
Whew. This got sketchy real quick.
Yep, there's 8, 10, 12, 13 life. It's 11. No, it should be fine. I mean, even if Dawido plays like 2 Hooked Reavers, he could still, like, which he can't, by the way. But I'm trying to show you like the context of his health. Even if you played 2 Mountain Giants on the following turn, he would still be able to Electra Volcano the board away.
Yeah, I suppose. But he would have taken a lot of damage at that point. Electro
Right.
Volcano would take up a full turn. It
But-
would leave him with 6 mana the next turn.
5, 13. There's 13 power. Put him 9. But Dawido's used a lot of his burst potential too. He's used the Bone Mare, and he's used
There's still Hellfire.
well, he used 1 Hellfire.
There's still a potential for Lich King to pick up damage.
Oh my goodness. He's ditching his spells. He doesn't think he can handle it anymore.
So
He has Tidal Surge, which is nice. Tidal Surge is still very useful.
but now he gets...
He has Electro Storm Surge, Tidal Surge.
I don't know. That seemed like a mismatch of plays there. A mishmash.
I mean, I understand his logic, which is, okay, so let's say he plays the Cragwall. He accepts 13 damage, goes down to 9, plus the hero power. He has to Electro Storm Surge and Volcano to clear, but he's at 6, and then he's dead to a Volcano, or he's dead to a Hellfire and hero power. So in a 3-turn setup, Viper's dead. If his opponent has like the ideal setup, and Dawido has only 8 cards remaining, so it's a pretty likely scenario that Dawido might have a second Hellfire ready to go. So I actually agree with that.
Well, I'm going back to the other turn saying Dragon Ball Scorcher over Healing Rain. Is what
Well,
I'm
yeah,
saying.
if that was gonna pan out the way it did, Viper would have also Dragon Ball Scorcher.
Yeah.
But Dawido also, how is he supposed to know that he has the exactly the Blood River Gold Band in that position? I mean, it's a percentage thing,
Yeah. I guess in this situation we'll get to find out if Electra works with Cragwall how we think it does. This is probably Electra plus Tidal Surge turn.
Yes. That'll heal you up for 8. You can get Cragwall back, and you still have a really powerful turn as a follow-up. Ziliax plus Earth Elemental.
Can strike twice.
That is a big board development.
Yes, it is. And Dawido has used Blood River Gul'dan,
Oh.
has very little threats left in the deck.
Jeez, that Death and Decay, though, is massive pickup. Oh my goodness. Dawido can also, I think biting and playing the Shroom Brewer here is perfectly fine. Although, maybe Spellbreaker is better because it gives you flexibility of your options. Like, Shroom Brewer can be used to heal, like, a better minion, I guess.
But this is basically Dawido's last push. He has a Dread Infernal and a Spellbreaker left in his deck. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, Viper's on the Outlast plan.
Yeah, which is, it's worked for this deck many times before. That's
Yeah.
the name of the game for Peanut Shaman.
Well, and Dawido has a couple of cards that, like, don't do anything. Like, Shadow Flame is not going to be useful.
Defile, which I'm pretty sure he has 2 Defiles left in his deck.
Yeah, the
I don't
window's
think
already
he's used
passed. He's had an opportunity previously to do stuff.
So many.
Also,
bloody
if Viper
decisions.
ever draws Shudderwalk before the end of the game and he casts a spell, he's played Cragwall 3 times, so he's going to have 3 copies of said spell.
One thing maybe going for Dawido is that Viper, his hand is quite empty.
I must
Yeah, like,
I'm trying to look for that, for the light at
No,
the end of
you're-
the tunnel here.
You are right. Dawido does have an opportunity for a tempo push with a Spellstone and a Spellbreaker in this spot. It's not the best, especially with an Earth Elemental and Ziliax coming up.
Oh, Viper's getting low.
That is a big-time draw.
Ooh, moo.
Because what it does is it gives longevity to his hand. So now,
Yeah.
when he plays Ziliax and Earth Elementals, those are 2 more spells that go
Yeah.
into his hand.
Yep.
And Hagatha sets up for like a Primordial Drake on the following turn and shuts off Dawido from like being able to play things like Defile in the future turns.
Yeah.
Not that he would.
And if you look at it, Hagatha and Ziliax are very similar. They both, Ziliax gains 4 health and kills a minion and forces a hero power next turn,
Yeah.
whereas Hagatha gains 5 health and kills a minion and doesn't force a hero power next turn.
Yeah.
So they're very, very similar. So you might as well play Hagatha first if that's the case.
My tablet came 100% charged to the series, TJ, and it's dead. So we're flying blind here.
Oh no,
I don't know how many battle cries have been invested into the pool. I was keeping pretty diligent notes.
I don't even know what cards do anymore.
Dawido has another Hooked Reaver. I mean, that's one of his better minions in this deck. In fact, his best play this turn is Gen Greymane.
Shields up.
This curse has become our greatest strength.
And he's gonna push an extra 7.
I mean, he's getting close-ish.
He is.
Unity.
Zentimo.
Wait a
If he
second.
gets a
Hold on,
good
hold on,
spell.
hold
Earthshock.
Hold on.
Zentimo Earthshock.
Zentimo Earthshock killed again? No!
Wow!
That's so sick!
Well, Wind Fury can work on both your minions. That's not going to be what's important here. The Earthshock is a really nice
Oh my
pickup.
goodness. Well, I was thinking if he did not pick up spells that he could play and he went for Ziliax Earth Elemental, he would kill the Shroom Brewer, go up to 15. Spellbreaker, Hero Power plus Hellfire, if he'd drawn it, would put him down to 1.
Yep. And he would have been...
And he would have had no healing left in hand. But this ends up working out nearly perfectly.
I mean, he could have also just picked up Wind Fury, too, and he would
Yeah.
have Wind Fury the Ziliax to double trade and gain even more life.
Yeah.
Dawido should definitely deal with that Ziliax now and Zentimo. I am a big fan of just silencing the Zentimo and biting the Ziliax and playing Hooked Reaver. I think you're 100% all in now.
Yeah. Well, if he's all in, then he's just pushing damage and leaving Zentimo up. He bites, attacks face.
Ugh. Well, I
And
meant all
plays
in,
two
like,
4 mana minions.
you're not commit. Oh, he's gonna Shadow Flame.
Oh,
his
this is
board.
okay. This is actually maximum damage push, but it doesn't leave another minion on the board behind this 2/2.
It's a very pitiful push, and it's also a very important breakpoint that Viper can survive 3 bites before he has to find healing.
Yeah.
So Primordial Drake can come down here.
Well, what healing does Viper have left in the deck?
He has another healing rain. And a
Oh,
title
he has
surge,
another-
apparently.
Oh, and
Dude, if he had the Teemo title surge, this game was 100% locked. But it's good that Dawido dealt with it. And he found value off of the Shadow Flame, which is important.
yeah.
But now things like Spellbreaker and Doomsayer, Hellfire, Defile, these are all situational cards that are like good against aggressive strategies, maybe.
Yeah. I think Viper is frantically trying to count how much damage from hand Dawido could possibly have.
It's just Hellfire and
yeah, but he's trying to think how many Hellfires have been used, I think is the big thing.
it's just one.
It's one, but does he remember that one? With how stressful this game has probably been for him at times, he may not. And it may force him to use Title Surge a turn earlier than he needs to, which may stunt his development for a turn later than he needs to, and could let the Siphon Life be the difference maker.
Well, there's still a Dread Infernal in the deck.
There's still Dread Infernal. That's
And-
the extra break point.
And an Ooze, and I believe the second Defile. So I think that should be the 3 cards remaining.
Okay, so Dawido's just going to set up for Dread Infernal lethal off the top.
Yes. Except what he doesn't know is that Viper has heal with this title surge.
Yep. And kind of protection for his board state.
Ooze first, see if you pick up a really powerful card that might change your play.
Yep.
I can't imagine one would outside of Healing Rain. Eureka pulls out the Earth Elemental for free.
I mean, that could be the difference maker. If Viper's going to Wind Fury up this Primordial Drake to start pushing damage, he needs to put him on a clock. The one thing that Eureka does do is it doesn't give you an extra spell.
That's true. That's true.
And maybe if he needs the extra spell that turn, he may not want to play Eureka.
Yeah.
But that's only if he needs it that turn. And now he's thinking, do I Earthshock this Doomsayer to push an extra 5 damage to face?
There's Earthshock.
Perplexing.
I think you do.
I think the Earthshock doesn't have any other targets, really. Like,
Yeah.
you do a 1 damage Spellbreaker or Dread Infernal or Acidic Swan. I don't think
Oh, man, this is actually going to be really close. Viper's not guaranteed to draw Healing Ring because he's got 9 cards left.
Right. But, again, Viper's at a very important breakpoint. He's at 8 life, not 7.
Shields up.
The silence. The damage. It's close, TJ.
Wait, and this actually also protects one of
The
his minions.
Shudderwalk! Okay, there's just a lot going on here. In fact, the entire board will die guaranteed.
But
Wait, he gets the Earthshock. He gets all the spells he played last turn, so he gets a title surge back. He gets like 3 title surges back.
does it guarantee clear the board? Yeah, with Hagatha.
Yes, Hagatha, Primordial Drake, Dragonmaw Scorchers.
Yeah,
He gets
because Cragwall's played 3 times. Yeah. So there's Cragwall.
Cragwall again.
Oh no, but it's going to fill up his hand because of Stonehill Defenders and Fireflies, so he may not get it back. Yeah, he will.
He got it back.
Okay.
Woo! The value! And Dawido, if he draws Dread Infernal, is going to be 1 damage off lethal. Viper's thinking if he should free up his hand space in case he draws Healing Rain, he might need it.
I'm
Passes.
almost out of cards.
He's got 2 title surges. I don't think he needs it.
It's so close!
Wow.
Don't need you, Elise. You can Flame Elemental, Title Surge.
Smack him.
Actually, this works out okay as well. Oh, he doesn't know what cards were generated, right? He should. The Cragwall does.
He
sell
should,
that, but
yeah.
Wind Fury again. Dawido on his potential last turn here.
Wow.
Pretty sure it's another Defile that's remaining, and that's
That's
just
it.
not enough.
Peanut Shaman gets there by the skin of his teeth.
Yeah, Dawido has to clear the Shudderwalk, which commits him to not damaging the face, so he wouldn't even be able to drag this out if Viper was still three cards away from the heal.
Yep.
I mean, let's still play this out. I mean, maybe some miracle happens here. Hex.
He could have just title surge, earth shocked, and then he was almost mathematically dead by that point. Unstable evolution, any threat on the board would have been able to push through past fatigue.
Oh, man.
He would have been on a 3-turn clock.
It's brutal. Viper definitely wants a title surge this turn.
Yeah, and he needs at least 6 mana to kill it off. That's if he wants a double Earth Shock. It's a last minion, so he might as well do it in the most mana efficient way possible.
Yes. Plague of Toads, not gonna really matter. Title Surge, double Earth Shock leaves him enough to evolve twice more. Yeah, toss it in. You never know if you get some way to heal or gain armor.
Is there anything that can damage him? I don't think so.
No, most of them are battle cries.
Yeah.
And Dawido is 100% locked out of this game. What a marathon. What a game. What a series. And with that, Viper is going to be able to join us once again for yet another championship appearance.
Doing it his own way, time after time. I looked at this deck and I thought, there's no way Viper makes it to the top 8, let alone qualifies for winter championships. I didn't have faith in the deck. I'm sure many people that saw him didn't have faith in the deck. But with 3 health to spare.
Oh yeah, make it rain, baby. That is a 3-2 victory. We have our first player joining us for the Winter Championship.